horizontal. There we go. Hi, YouTube. Okay, we are up on the horizontal. And now let's try turning on. And I don't even know like where I'm able to being sent out. Okay. I am seeing buffering happening. Oh. Okay. It looks like the horizontal is still working, right? Hi, Duke, over on YouTube. Hello, hello. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it. Hi, Dot. Hello. Hello, hello. And also, for anyone over on Twitch that would like to be so freaking awesome and helpful, if you're able to open up the YouTube stream, like even just in a side window on your second or third monitor or whatever, even if you're like chatting on Twitch more, it helps with the watch hours a lot, which is so useful in terms of helping me hit those goals for the YouTube partner program. Okay. The horizontal is what does anyone have eyes on vertical? I'm scrolling through my vertical feed, logged into a different account. I'm just not sure how to like find it, you know? No vertical? Are we sure? It's harder to tell for sure because you're still no, I'm not using YouTube Solution. No. So through YouTube Studio, it's only showing me the horizontal feed. And then I just also through SE Live turned on the vertical, and I've got a separate canvas for that. There should be a separate vertical in your YouTube page. Like if I go to live. No, I'm just seeing the horizontal. I don't know how to find it. The way that I was able to like find it before when we were doing the built-in method was through going through the shorts feed. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It might just not be working. Oh gosh, I'm not an expert either. We've been doing little tests and troubleshoots for like a while now. And look, it's not the end of the world if it's not working right now. In OBS, everything in OBS and SE Live is pointing to it working. But I don't have visual confirmation on YouTube that it's working, if that makes sense. So, I'm not really sure. You have zero faith in SE Live? Yeah, it's got mixed reviews. I don't know. Well, I guess what we can do is, we can just keep going, and whether it's being pushed out on vertical or not, if it's not actually being pushed out on vertical, you know, welp, oh well, you know, it wasn't like bringing people in anyways. If we start getting a lot of random comments from random people, that might be a clue that it's being pushed out in the shorts feed. It shows up separately, like for her, for the streamer in the YouTube studio, it shows up as a separate, or like a separate going live page, like 2 different tabs or 2 canvases on 1 page. Oh, for you. God, I have no idea then. I have no idea. Oh, on the homepage. Right. Yeah. I think I've seen that too, that it should do that. And it's not, hey? It is not, it does not seem to be. Okay, well, okay. Then maybe it isn't working. Whatever. Let's just keep going. We'll try again next time. This is not really any worse than if we had just done it the other way. So, it's fine. Okay. Hello, guys. Thank you for, you know, putting up with a little bit of troubleshooting that we're doing. Yes, we are trying eventually to get it set up so that we are streaming both horizontal and vertical on YouTube, and it has been a time and a half. Apparently vertical streaming is coming to Twitch as well. So that's a thing. How would we even find the vertical feed? You know, if you ever scroll the shorts feed on YouTube, you know how sometimes live streams come up, or like the way to find vertical live streams on YouTube is if you're watching shorts, if you pause a short, then up at the top, an option will come up that just says live. You click on live, and then you're basically scrolling vertical live streams. Yep. But a lot of people watch from there because it's like, I guess, similar to like TikTok vibes, and so a lot of people, apparently it has like more reach. A raid? Roxanne, hello. Oh my goodness, welcome in, raiders. Hello. Hello, it's so good to have you here. Hi, Spiritari. Hi, Freezing Salt. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Breva B. Hi, Cody. Cody Heracles. Okay, Cody. You might be into the fact that we're reading the Odyssey. Not that Heracles is in the Odyssey, but you know, similar story vibes. You've seen someone do vertical streaming on Twitch. It's in beta right now. Yeah, I think you can actually apply for beta. I was considering it. Hi, Roxanne. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? What were you guys getting up to tonight? All she wanted to do is party all night? I mean, fair. Get it. That's awesome. Oh, Anonymous, thank you for gifting to Roxanne. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. You're Greek and you love Greek mythology? Oh, hell yeah. Well, I'm so glad you're here then, Cody. Cody, please feel free to correct any of my pronunciation. I'm doing my best, and I've got a pronunciation guide tabbed so that I can reference it, but I know I'm not doing a perfect job. You don't think you'll be oh, yeah. I know, but a lot of people use it, so it's worth putting a stream out to. Some of the names aren't the easiest. Not all of them, no. Oh man, stream was chaotic tonight. You did gaming and talked about books at the end. Yay! You're a huge bookworm and you stream mainly ASMR, so this channel seemed perfect. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so glad you came to hang out. Oh my goodness. Wait, am I following you? Do I need to? I am following you. Okay, good. Good. You guys, make sure you're following Roxanne. That is so awesome. What were you playing tonight? Wait, did we give you a shout out? I'm sorry, I'm very scattered. Did we get a shout out? Yes, we did. Good. Thank you, mods. Yes, so you guys have come in at a wonderful time. We're just about to start reading. We've just gone live on YouTube as well. If you're someone that is just interested in the reading portion, then you might want to, drop a subscribe to the first of those links, the @Faolkor. The other one, @Faolkor ASMR, is my other YouTube channel, more for just ASMR triggers. They're both pretty new channels, just started getting content up in them in November. So we are working on getting the watch hours and the subs up. But yeah. Played cozy games on your phone, Heartopia, and Dress to Impress with viewers. Hell yeah. Your next fantasy read. Ooh. Can I know what it is? I'm curious. You don't have to share, but if you want to. Hi, Skior. Yeah, we are going to be diving back into the Odyssey, and let me post a link. It's 7 a.m. for you? Oh my goodness, yeah, Roxanne. Please feel free to skedaddle and go and rest and sleep after your own stream. Fearful by Lauren Roberts, romantasy series. Oh, did you? That's so cool. I'm not familiar with that series. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you again so much for the raid. You guys make sure you are following Roxanne. And let me post a link here. This is a link to the translation that we are using for the Odyssey. I'm gonna pin it in both Twitch and YouTube chats, so you can reference that. Now this is the Samuel Butler translation. It is a prose translation, not a verse translation. Samuel Butler chose to change all the names into the Roman names, and we have decided, no, let's turn them back into the Greek names. So if you're following along with that translation, you'll see that I am saying different names because we put them back to the Greek names. Because what do you mean, Samuel Butler? What were you doing? But otherwise, it's the same as that version. So adding more info to the multi-streaming thread in Discord based on Atom, which is what they use. Okay, thank you, Fitch. I really appreciate it. Thank you. He was translating. No, I know, but most translations still kept the Greek names. I think just the Roman gods were probably like in vogue in England at the time. The link doesn't, yeah. Although if you go to the Discord and you go into the book channel and scroll up a bit, you can see, because one of the community members, Lemon Slat, basically went and did like a find and replace of the names, and you can find it in our book chat channel on the Discord if you want to download that version, like the exact version I'm using. You got your popcorn ready? Hickey. Alright. Okay. So, we are about to start book 10. And basically, okay, so the first several chapters were POV Telemachus, which is Odysseus' son. Where's Lemon Slut? I'm not sure where that little slut is right now. Hopefully we'll see them I'm sure they're out there being zesty and slutty in the best ways. Right, Telemachus is out looking for news of his father. Yeah, just checking to see which lemons are firm or giving. But the last couple of chapters, we've actually had POV Odysseus. Odysseus has been stranded on an island in the care / imprisonment of Calypso. Calypso, who was fooling herself by like playing house and pretending that Odysseus was her husband, even though he spent all day crying and staring out to sea. Like, at a certain point, girl, you need to have self-respect and like accept that this man does not want to be with you. Anyways, she was not planning to let him go, except for Athena talks Zeus into basically saying she has to. So she helps Odysseus build a raft and gives him some clothes and sends him out to sea. But then Poseidon is pissed off. Poseidon tries to wreck him. He takes off all his clothes, ends up washed up on an island, runs out at a group of young women who are just trying to do laundry, but he's like a dirty naked man carrying like leaves over his junk. But they like help him, and he bathes, and then Athena puts a hotness spell on him and makes him like look super young and hot. And so they're like, oh, okay, like come meet my father, he's the king. So Odysseus goes and meets the king, and basically they're like, we will help you get home, we are amazing seafarers. However, who are you? They wait a couple days before they actually ask him his name or where he's from. And he's like, well, I'm Odysseus and here's my story. So the last chapter we read was Odysseus recounting the story of how his men and he, when they were trying to get home, they went up on an island of cyclopses, and a bunch of them got eaten. And then Odysseus is kind of clever. They get out of the cave, steal a bunch of sheep from the Cyclops, and they are getting away. They are getting away, except Odysseus cannot help himself, and he shouts back at the Cyclops, like, neener, neener. So the Cyclops, like, pulls him back in. Yeah, a bunch of men got, like, eaten by the Cyclops. Straight up chomped down on. Also High Conrad. Anyways, there's some back and forth. Odysseus just cannot help himself from bragging, and it gets him in trouble. And because of this, he also drove a giant spike through the Cyclops' eye. Now, the Cyclops is like the son of Poseidon. So as they do manage to get their ship away, and they're like shouting long messages at each other, but the Cyclops basically says, my dad's Poseidon and he's gonna fuck you up. And now we understand more why Poseidon was trying to fuck him up when he was just on his raft trying to get home. And if Odysseus had just kept his trap shut and sailed away without having to say neener neener, he wouldn't have had like a curse put on him that Poseidon would take his revenge. Do you know who my dad is? Big energy. Yes. So, and also it's like, man, these guys are not gonna, this whole island of seafarers are like all about Poseidon. They're like, we're blessed by Poseidon. Poseidon loves us. And now here's Odysseus being like, yeah, Poseidon hates me. Thought you should know. Which, to be fair, yeah, they should. But I'm not sure if they're going to want to still give him a ride after this. That good old Greek arrogance. Look, I was not saying that. I was just saying this particular Greek was showing some arrogance. Aw, Jane. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Let's do it. Are you still getting your Bing bucks? Bitch. I don't know. I imagine so. I haven't checked in a while. Okay. We're gonna read book 10. AKA chapter 10, really. It ain't just one drink. As many, not all, but many. You bet they expire? Don't say that. Alright. Okay. Oh wait, let me get my pronunciation guide locked and loaded so that I can easily access it. There we go. I'll probably forget by then. I'm gonna be so on a switch. You got your wine? I don't drink wine on stream. It's just flavored water in a wine glass. Alright. Book 10. Aeolus. The Laestrygons. Circe. Okay. Let me look up. Is it Laestrygons? It's just age group. No, it's really not. Laestrygonia, so Laestrygons. I think I might have gotten that right. Hi, Indy. Hello. Okay, so Aeolus, the Laestrygons, Circe. So this is still Odysseus telling stories to his current hosts. Thence we went on to the Aeolian island, where lives Aeolus, son of Hippotas, dear to the immortal gods. It is an island that floats, as it were, upon the sea, iron bound with a wall that girds it. Now, Aeolus has 6 daughters and 6 lusty sons, so he made the sons marry the daughters. Okay, well, that took a dark turn. Alright, okay. Sorry, let me get a grip on myself. Okay. Alright. So he made the sons marry the daughters, and they all live with their dear father and mother, feasting and enjoying every conceivable kind of luxury. All day long the atmosphere of the house is loaded with the savor of roasting meats, till it groans again, yard and all. But by night they sleep on their well-made bedsteads, each with his own wife/sister. It doesn't say that. Between the blankets. These were the people among whom we had now come. Aeolus entertained me for a whole month, asking me questions all the time about Troy, the Argive fleet, and the return of the Achaeans. I told him exactly how everything had happened, and when I said I must go, and asked him to further me on my way, he made no sort of difficulty, but set about doing so at once. Moreover, he flayed me a prime ox hide to hold the ways of the roaring winds, which he shut up in the hide as in a sack, for Zeus had made him captain over the winds, and he could stir or still each one of them according to his own pleasure. He put the sack in the ship and bound the mouth so tightly with a silver thread that not even a breath of a side wind could blow from any quarter. The west wind, which was fair for us, did he alone let blow as it chose, but it all came to nothing, for we were lost through our own folly. 12 people on YouTube? Hell yeah. Thank you to everyone watching on YouTube. It's so helpful. Thank you so much. 9 days and 9 nights did we sail, and on the 10th day our native land showed on the horizon. We got so close in that we could see the stubble fires burning, and I, being then dead beat, fell into a light sleep, for I had never let the rudder out of my own hands, that we might get home the faster. On this, the men fell to talking among themselves, and said I was bringing back gold and silver in the sack that Aeolus had given me. Bless my heart, would one turn to his neighbor, saying, how this man gets honored and makes friends to whatever city or country he may go. See what fine prizes he is taking home from Troy, while we, who have traveled just as far as he has, come back with hands as empty as we set out with. And now Aeolus has given him ever so much more. Quick, let us see what it all is, and how much gold and silver there is in the sack he gave him. Thus they talked, and evil counsels prevailed. They loosed the sack, whereupon the wind flew howling forth and raised a storm that carried us weeping out to sea and away from our own country. Then I awoke, and knew not whether to throw myself into the sea or to live on and make the best of it. But I bore it, covered myself up, and lay down in the ship, while the men lamented bitterly as the fierce winds bore our fleet back to the Aeolian island. Okay, Carrot. I don't know if there's a way to do it on your end, but is there a way to link to your YouTube below stream next to the follower count? Not next to the follower count, but if you scroll just a tiny bit further down, in the about Faolkor description box where there's links for Discord, tips, merch, wishlist, there's also YouTube there. That links specifically to the YouTube channel that I'm live on now, the reading one, not the ASMR one. But also, you can always at any time type !YT in chat and it comes up with the reading and the ASMR one. I mean, we can pin this as well. You can pin more than one thing, but I feel like people often don't read the pinned messages, and we also want to pin the book one. I should probably, a good idea honestly would be to edit my stream info and put the YouTube in there as well. There we go, just the !YT, but yeah. Okay, hope that helped. I only just noticed it on other streams and noticed, wait, really? Next to the follower count, right, a link? I guess I'm not sure where you're asking, because honestly, if I'm able to put it more where then? You can add your links there? Not in the box where it says goes girls and welcome to the Book Dragon's Den via stream info or something? in the stream title, or is it next to the like manage your sub, gift a sub? Below the... Oh. Do you need an add-on? Dude, I didn't know that was a thing. I will look into that because I would love to have something like that. A specific spot I'm not using? What? Really? Well, shit. Okay. Well, I will try to figure out how to do that then for next time. Because that would be so awesome. That's personally where you always... I didn't even know this was a thing. Thank you for letting me know, IndieJ. I honestly didn't know. I still don't totally know, but now I know it's a thing that I can figure out how to do. So that's good. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, okay. So they're gonna get blown back to Incest Island. Okay, Aeolus is the dude traveling around with Hercules in the TV show, right? I've never actually watched Hercules, The Adventures of Hercules, except for where it crosses over with Xena, because Xena is one of my very favorite shows ever. And Aeolus is sometimes in the show. But I don't know if they were actually like besties in the legends. Okay. All right. Oh, dude, Cody, you don't have to tell me. I know it's insanely inaccurate, but certain things are based on the actual legends. So it's best to assume that nothing is accurate, but some few things are. Oh yeah, no, fuck Kevin Sorbo. And I haven't actually watched the show. I love Xena though. So, hi Moonstar, good to see you. I'm doing all right. How are you? Okay, let's see. Okay, the winds bore them back to the Aeolian Island. When we reached it, we went ashore to take in water and dined hard by the ships. Immediately after dinner, I took a herald and one of my men and went straight to the house of Aeolus, where I found him feasting with his wife and family. So we sat down as suppliants on the threshold. Century, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Hello, hello. Hi. They were astounded when they saw us and said, Odysseus, what brings you here? What god has been ill-treating you? We took great pains to further you on your way home to Ithaca, or wherever it was that you wanted to go to. Thus did they speak, but I answered sorrowfully, my men have undone me. They and cruel sleep have ruined me. My friends, mend me this mischief, for you can if you will. I spoke as movingly as I could, but they said nothing till their father answered, vilest of mankind, get you gone at once out of the island. Him whom heaven hates will I in no wise help. Be off, for you come here as one abhorred of heaven. And with these words he sent me sorrowing from his door. Thence we sailed sadly on, till the men were worn out with long and fruitless rowing, for there was no longer any wind to help them. 6 days, night and day, did we toil, and on the 7th day we reached the rocky stronghold of Lamus Telepilus. I don't know, Odysseus. Maybe you should be paying your men better? I don't know. Telepilus. Okay. We reached the rocky stronghold of Lamus Telepilus, the city of the Lystragonians, with a shepherd who is driving in his sheep and goats to be milked, salutes him who is driving out his flock to feed, and this last answers the salute. In that country, a man who could do without sleep might earn double wages, one as a herdsman of cattle and another as a shepherd, for they work much the same by night as they do by day. When we reached the harbor, we found it landlocked under steep cliffs, with a narrow entrance between two headlands. My captains took all their ships inside and made them fast close to one another, for there was never so much as a breath of wind inside, but it was always dead calm. I kept my own ship outside and moored it to a rock at the very end of the point. Then I climbed a high rock to reconnoiter, but could see no sign neither of man nor cattle, only some smoke rising from the ground. So I sent two of my company with an attendant to find out what sort of people the inhabitants were. The men, when they got on shore, followed a level road by which the people draw their firewood from the mountains into the town, till presently they met a young woman who had come outside to fetch water, and who was daughter to a Lystragonian named Antiphates. I think that's correct. Time to head out, Zen. I'm glad you were able to hang out for a while. I hope that the rest of your week is a little better, that you have a good restful weekend. Thanks for hanging out. Antiphates, all right. I'm doing well on the guesses so far. Okay. Who was daughter to a Lystragonian named Antiphates. I know. You okay? The men... Oh, wait. She was going to the fountain, Artasia, from which the people bring in their water. And when my men had come close up to her, they asked her who the king of that country might be, and over what kind of people he ruled. So she directed them to her father's house. But when they got there, they found his wife to be a giantess, as huge as a mountain, and they were horrified at the sight of her. She at once called her husband, Antiphates, from the place of assembly, and forthwith he set about killing my men. He snatched up one of them and began to make his dinner off him then and there, whereon the other two ran back to the ships as fast as ever they could. But Antiphates raised a hue and cry after them, and thousands of sturdy Lystragonians sprang up from every quarter. Ogres, not men. They threw vast rocks at us from the cliffs, as though they had been mere stones, and I heard the horrid sound of the ships crunching up against one another, and the death cries of my men as the Lystragonians speared them like fishes and took them home to eat them. While they were thus killing my men, within the harbor I drew my sword, cut the cable of my own ship, and told my men to row with all their might if they too would not fare like the rest. So they laid out for their lives, and we were thankful enough when we got into open water, out of reach of the rocks they hurled at us. As for the others, there was not one of them left. Thence we sailed sadly on, glad to have escaped death, though we had lost our comrades, and came to the Iaean island where Circe lives, a great and cunning goddess who is own sister to the magician Aeetes, for they are both children of the sun by Perse, who is daughter to Oceanus. We brought our ship into a safe harbor without a word, for some god guided us hither. No, some god guided us thither, and having landed, we lay there for 2 days and 2 nights, worn out in body and mind. When the morning of the 3rd day came, I took my spear and my sword and went away from the ship to reconnoiter and see if I could discover signs of human handiwork or hear the sound of voices. Climbing to the top of a high lookout, I espied the smoke of Circe's house rising upwards amid a dense forest of trees. And when I saw this, I doubted whether having seen the smoke, I would not go on at once and find out more. But in the end, I deemed it best to go back to the ship, give the men their dinners, and send some of them instead of going myself. The fuck, Odysseus? This is why your men opened your sack of wind. Hi, Casey King. Hello. Deep into some games. Hey, no worries about that. Hope you're having fun. When I had nearly got back to the ship, some god took pity upon my solitude and sent a fine antlered stag right into the middle of my path. He was coming down his pasture in the forest to drink of the river, for the heat of the sun drove him, and as he passed I struck him in the middle of the back. The bronze point of the spear went clean through him, and he lay groaning in the dust until the life went out of him. Then I set my foot upon him, drew my spear from the wound, and laid it down. I also gathered rough grass and rushes and twisted them into a fathom or so of good stout rope, with which I bound the 4 feet of the noble creature together. Having so done, I hung him round my neck and walked back to the ship, leaning upon my spear, for the stag was much too big for me to be able to carry him on my shoulder, steadying him with one hand. As I threw him down in front of the ship, I called the men and spoke cheeringly, man by man, to each of them. "Look here, my friends," said I. "We are not going to die so much before our time after all, and at any rate we will not starve so long as we have got something to eat and drink on board." On this they uncovered their heads upon the seashore and admired the stag, for he was indeed a splendid fellow. Then, when they had feasted their eyes upon him sufficiently, they washed their hands and began to cook him for dinner. Thus, through the livelong day to the going down of the sun, we stayed there, eating and drinking our fill. But when the sun went down and it came on dark, we camped upon the seashore. When the child of morning, rosy-fingered dawn, appeared, I called a council and said, "My friends, we are in very great difficulties. Listen, therefore, to me. We have no idea where the sun either sets or rises, so that we do not even know east from west. I see no way out of it. Nevertheless, we must try and find one. We are certainly on an island, for I went as high as I could this morning and saw the sea reaching all round it to the horizon. It lies low, but towards the middle I saw smoke rising from out of a thick forest of trees. Wait, I'm sorry. How can they not find east or west? It says the going down of the sun, and it says rosy-fingered dawn appearing. Surely, and he can see the horizon everywhere? I don't understand. What? I'm like going back to see if there's anything, because it does say that it's an island. Well, Cersei lives there, but she's sister to the magician Aedes. Like maybe there's a spell, but I'm not seeing anything about that. That's very weird. A lot of things are distorted on the island. I mean, that would make sense. That would make sense, Cody. I'm not seeing it like in the text. Weird. Okay. Their hearts sank as they heard me, for they remembered how they had been treated by the Lystragonian Antiphates and by the savage ogre Polyphemus. They wept bitterly in their dismay, but there was nothing to be got by crying. So I divided them into 2 companies and set a captain over each. I gave one company to Eurylochus, while I took command of the other myself. Then we cast lots in a helmet, and the lot fell upon Eurylochus. So he set out with his 22 men, and they wept, as also did we who were left behind. You don't know if it's in the text. You know, in another story of it, the gods put a barrier around it to where it throws off all directions, as well as keeps people in and out. Cool. Okay. I mean, that would make narrative sense. I'm wondering, like, why it wasn't included in this version. But that makes sense. Like, these are seafaring men. They know how to navigate by the stars. Obviously, they know how to find east and west. So there's gotta be something like that going on. Okay. When they reached Cersei's house, they found it built of cut stones on a site that could be seen from far in the middle of the forest. There were wild mountain wolves and lions prowling all round it, poor bewitched creatures whom she had tamed by her enchantments and drugged into subjection. They did not attack my men, but wagged their great tails, fawned upon them, and rubbed their noses lovingly against them. As hounds crowd round their master when they see him coming from dinner, for they know he will bring them something. Even so did these wolves and lions, with their great claws, fawn upon my men. But the men were terribly frightened at seeing such strange creatures. Presently they reached the gates of the goddess's house, and as they stood there, they could hear Cersei within singing most beautifully as she worked at her loom, making a web so fine, so soft, and of such dazzling colors as no one but a goddess could weave. On this, Polites, whom I valued and trusted more than any other of my men, said, "There is someone inside working at a loom and singing most beautifully. The whole place resounds with it. Let us call her and see whether she is woman or goddess." They called her, and she came down, unfastened the door, and bade them enter. They, thinking no evil, followed her. All except Eurylochus. All except Eurylochus, who suspected mischief and stayed outside. When she had got them into her house, she set them upon benches and seats. Not urologist. I mean, I think I'm saying it right. Eurylochus? Not urologist. Oh. I don't think it's like Eurylochus. That sounds wrong. Eurylochus. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You're a locust. Alright, okay. Alright. Lemon Slut, hi. We were gossiping about you earlier. We said you were probably out browsing lemons, testing their firmness / juiciness. It was all good things, don't worry. Okay. Yeah. Just gotta give him a little squeeze. Okay. All except Eurylochus, who suspected mischief and stayed outside. When she had got them into her house, she set them upon benches and seats and mixed them a mess with cheese, honey, meal, and Pramnian wine. But she drugged it with wicked poisons to make them forget their homes. And when they had drunk, she turned them into pigs by a stroke of her wand, and shut them up in her pigsties. They were like pigs, head, hair, and all, and they grunted just as pigs do. Oh no. But their senses were the same as before, and they remembered everything. Oh no! Oh, that's horrible! Wait. That's so much worse than I was thinking. Damn. Is she gonna eat them? Gonna have some bacon? What do you mean nice? Uh-oh. No one get on the bad side of Violet. Oh my god. Okay. Thus then were they shut up squealing, and Circe threw them some acorns and beech masts, such as pigs eat. But Eurylochus hurried back to tell me about the sad fate of our comrades. He was so overcome with dismay that though he tried to speak, he could find no words to do so. His eyes filled with tears, and he could only sob and sigh, till at last we forced his story out of him, and he told us what had happened to the others. "We went," said he, "as you told us, through the forest, and in the middle of it there was a fine house, built with cut stones, in a place that could be seen from far. There we found a woman, or else she was a goddess, working at her loom and singing sweetly. So the men shouted to her and called her, whereon she at once came down, opened the door, and invited us in. The others did not suspect any mischief, so they followed her into the house, but I stayed where I was, for I thought there might be some treachery. From that moment I saw them no more, for not one of them ever came out, though I sat a long time watching for them. A raid. Hi, Black Dragon. Hello. Hello. Welcome in, Raiders. Hi, Shay. Oh my goodness. How was your stream tonight? You guys make sure you're following Black Dragon Tavern Gaming. They also do reading and storytelling over there, and just really cozy, awesome times over in the tavern. Good and fair evening. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Welcome in, you guys. We are continuing on with our read of the Odyssey, so welcome in. We're at a point where Odysseus is trying to get home, and he's been offered some help, but they're kind of like, but who are you? What's your name? And he takes that as an invitation to just tell them his whole backstory, so we're doing that. Hi, Maddie. Hello, everyone. All right. And Milu. Hi, Milu. Okay. I mean, did they act like pigs? They were, like, looking for help, right? It's not that I resent her the ability to turn them into pigs. It's just that I'm not sure these men, in particular, deserved it. They ate a lot and left their dishes lying about, but she gave them food. I don't know. Hi, Lockdown. Good to see you. What if Cersei turned them into pigs? Well, that's okay. Pig life is best life. Hi, Miss Cloud. How you doing? Okay. Okay. So Eurylochus is recounting the tragedy to Odysseus. Oh, this is Odysseus again. Then I took my sword of bronze and slung it over my shoulders. I also took my bow and told Eurylochus to come back with me and shew me the way. But he laid hold of me with both his hands and spoke piteously, saying, "Sir, do not force me to go with you, but let me stay here, for I know you will not bring one of them back with you, nor even return alive yourself. Let us rather see if we cannot escape at any rate with the few that are left us, for we may still save our lives." "Stay where you are, then," answered I, eating and drinking at the ship. "But I must go, for I am most urgently bound to do so." With this, I left the ship and went up inland. When I got through the charmed grove, and was near the great house of the enchantress, Circe, I met Hermes with his golden wand, disguised as a young man in the heyday of his youth, and beauty, in the heyday of his youth and beauty, with the down just coming upon his face. He came up to me and took my hand within his own, saying, "My poor unhappy man, whither are you going over this mountain top, alone and without knowing the way? Your men are shut up in Circe's pigsties, like so many wild boars in their lairs. You surely do not fancy that you can set them free. I can tell you that you will never get them back. I can tell you that you will never get back, and will have to stay there with the rest of them. But never mind, I will protect you and get you out of your difficulty. Take this herb, which is one of great virtue, and keep it about you when you go to Circe's house. It will be a talisman to you against every kind of mischief. Aw, thanks, Shay. I feel like they're sitting weird, so I appreciate that. And I will tell you of all the wicked witchcraft that Circe will try to practice upon you. She will mix a mess for you to drink, and she will drug the meal with which she makes it. But she will not be able to charm you, for the virtue of the herb that I shall give you will prevent her spells from working. I will tell you all about it. When Circe strikes you with her wand, draw your sword and spring upon her as though you were going to kill her. She will then be frightened and will desire you to go to bed with her. On this, you must not point blank refuse her, for you want her to set your companions free and to take good care also of yourself. But you must make her swear solemnly by all the blessed gods that she will plot no further mischief against you, or else when she has got you naked, she will unman you and make you fit for nothing. She'd chop off his dick. Damn, girl. Also, Hermes, that's kind of a little misandrist of you, Hermes, to suggest that if you removed a man's dick, he'd be good for nothing. Men are valuable in a lot of ways that have nothing to do with their dick, okay? God damn it, Hermes. Man-hater Hermes. Hey, Floofy Jago. Listening to Faolkor read, but at the same time, all you're hearing is "wouldn't you like?" From man, people keep mentioning it, and I still haven't seen it. Totally forgot about that part. No. Don't speak badly about my patron planet god, dude. Look, he's fine. It's just he only is interested in you as a man if you've got a dick. That's it. He doesn't care about your personality. Okay. As he spoke, he pulled the herb out of the ground and shewed me what it was like. The root was black, while the flower was as white as milk. The gods call it Molly? He's like... He's just giving him some Molly. Oh, moly. Okay. They're just dropping Molly in the forest together. Oh my god. Okay. Moly. Okay. This keeps getting better. Hi, Oni Papa. Okay. Hermes is mercurial, literally subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind. Right. Okay. The gods call it Moli, and mortal men cannot uproot it, but the gods can do whatever they like. Then Hermes went back to high Olympus, passing over the wooded island, but I fared onward to the house of Circe, and my heart was clouded with care as I walked along. When I got to the gates, I stood there and called the goddess, and as soon as she heard me, she came down, opened the door, and asked me to come in. So I followed her, much troubled in my mind, She set me on a richly decorated seat inlaid with silver. There was a footstool also under my feet, and she mixed a mess in a golden goblet for me to drink. But she drugged it, for she meant me mischief. When she had given it me, and I had drunk it without its charming me, she struck me with her wand. "There now," she cried, "be off to the pigsty, and make your lair with the rest of them." But I rushed at her with my sword drawn as though I would kill her, whereon she fell with a loud scream, clasped my knees, and spoke piteously, saying, "Who and whence are you? From what place and people have you come? How can it be that my drugs have no power to charm you? Never yet was any man able to stand so much as a taste of the herb I gave you. You must be spell-proof. Oh, surely you can be none other than the bold hero Odysseus, whom Hermes always said would come here some day with his ship, while on his way home from Troy. So be it then. Sheathe your sword, and let us go to bed, that we may make friends and learn to trust each other." And I answered, "Circe, how can you expect me to be friendly with you, when you have just been turning all my men into pigs? And now that you have got me here myself, you mean me mischief, when you ask me to go to bed with you, and will unman me and make me fit for nothing. I shall certainly not consent to go to bed with you, unless you will first take your solemn oath to plot no further harm against me." So she swore at once, as I had told her, and when she had completed her oath, then I went to bed with her. I mean, does she still want to go to bed with him at that point? Like, is the going to bed with him just a way to be able to cut his dick off? Or, like, does having someone fight back actually, like, rev her up? Or is she like, well, shit, now I've already said I would? That's a thing. He just said, promise you won't make me a pig. Why isn't he saying, turn my men back into men? Circe just wants the D. Apparently that's all men are good for. Meanwhile, her 4 servants, who are her housemaids, set about their work. They are the children of the groves and fountains, and of the holy waters that run down into the sea. One of them spread a fair purple cloth over a seat, and laid a carpet underneath it. Another brought tables of silver up to the seats, and set them with baskets of gold. A third mixed some sweet wine with water in a silver bowl, and put golden cups upon the tables, while the fourth brought in water, and set it to boil in a large cauldron over a good fire which she had lighted. Why does he need to describe, like, his bang room to his hosts? This is him telling a story to, like, a whole group of people. Hi, Malum. Titillation, I guess. He's like, believe me, I also know how to get some. You were reading Tales of Brave and Brilliant Girls from the Greek myths tonight? Oh, dear girls. A bit yeah, for sure. Okay. When the water in the cauldron was boiling, she poured cold into it, till it was just as I liked it, and then she set me in a bath and began washing me from the cauldron about the head and shoulders, to take the tire and stiffness out of my limbs. As soon as she had done washing me and anointing me with oil, she arrayed me in a good cloak and shirt and led me to a richly decorated seat, inlaid with silver. There was a footstool also under my feet. A maidservant then brought me water in a beautiful golden ewer and poured it into a silver basin for me to wash my hands. And she drew a clean table beside it. Wash your hands? You just had a bath. You just had a bath. How dirty are your hands? Artax, thank you for the 100 biddies. And she drew a clean table beside me. An upper servant brought me bread and offered me many things of what there was in the house. And then Circe bade me eat, but I would not, and sat without heeding what was before me, still moody and suspicious. When Circe saw me sitting there without eating and in great grief, she came to me and said, "Odysseus, why do you sit like that as though you were dumb, gnawing at your own heart and refusing both meat and drink? Is it that you are still suspicious? You ought not to be, for I have already sworn solemnly that I will not hurt you." And I said, "Circe, no man with any sense of what is right can think of either eating or drinking in your house until you have set his friends free and let him see them. If you want me to eat and drink, you must free my men and bring them to me, that I may see them with my own eyes." When I had said this, she went straight through the court with her wand in her hand and opened the pigsty doors. My men came out like so many prime hogs and stood looking at her. But she went about among them and anointed each with a second drug, whereon the bristles that the bad drug had given them fell off, and they became men again, younger than they were before, and much taller and better looking. They knew me at once, seized me each of them by the hand, and wept for joy till the whole house was filled with the sound of their halloa-ballooing. I'm sorry. That was the most British sounding shit I've ever heard. Halloa-ballooing. That just, I don't know. This was translated by an Englishman, and that feels very English. And Circe herself was so sorry for them that she came up to me and said, "Odysseus, noble son of Laertes, go back at once to the sea where you have left your ship, and first draw it onto the land. Then hide all your ship's gear and property in some cave, and come back here with your men." I agreed to this, so I went back to the seashore and found the men at the ship weeping and wailing most piteously. When they saw me, the silly blubbering fellows began frisking round me as calves break out and gambol around their mothers when they see them coming home to be milked after they have been feeding all day, and the homestead resounds with their lowing. They seemed as glad to see me as though they had got back to their own rugged Ithaca, where they had been born and bred. "Sir," said the affectionate creatures, "we are as glad to see you back as though we had got safe home to Ithaca. But let us tell you all about the fate. No, wait, but tell us all about the fate of our comrades." Don't they ditch one? I'm not sure, Floofy. I don't know. Possibly. I spoke comfortingly to them and said, "We must draw our ship onto the land and hide the ship's gear with all our property in some cave. Then come with me, all of you, as fast as you can to Circe's house, where you will find your comrades eating and drinking in the midst of great abundance." On this, the men would have come with me at once, but Eurylochus tried to hold them back and said, "Alas, poor wretches that we are, what will become of us? Rush not on into your ruin by going to the house of Circe, who will turn us all into pigs or wolves or lions, and we shall have to keep guard over her house. Remember how the Cyclops treated us when our comrades went inside his cave, and Odysseus with them? It was all through his sheer folly that these men lost their lives. Damn, Eurylochus. Okay. When I heard him, I was in two minds whether or no to draw the keen blade that hung by my sturdy thigh and cut his head off, in spite of his being a near relation of my own. But the men interceded for him and said, "Sir, if it may so be, let this fellow stay here and mind the ship, but take the rest of us with you to Circe's house." Uh-oh, I bet she's going to be like, "Not all your men are here." On this we all went inland, and Eurylochus was not left behind after all, but came on too, for he was frightened by the severe reprimand that I had given him. Meanwhile, Circe had been seeing that the men who had been left behind were washed and anointed with olive oil. She had also given them woolen cloaks and shirts, and when we came, we found them all comfortably at dinner in her house. As soon as the men saw each other face to face and knew one another, they wept for joy and cried aloud till the whole palace rang again. Thereon Circe came up to me and said, "Odysseus, noble son of Laertes, tell your men to leave off crying. I know how much you have all suffered. I know how much you have all of you suffered at sea, and how ill you have fared among cruel savages on the mainland. But that is over now. So stay here and eat and drink till you are once more as strong and hardy as you were when you left Ithaca. For at present you are weakened both in body and mind. You keep all the time thinking of the hardships you have suffered during your travels, so that you have no more cheerfulness left in you." Thus did she speak, and we assented. We stayed with Circe for a whole 12-month, feasting upon an untold quantity, both of meat and wine. For a year? A year? That's a long time. I was thinking like a week. Crazy. Also, like, I bet the guys that had stayed at the ship were then like jealous of the ones who'd been turned into pigs, because then they got turned back into men, but like younger and hotter and taller than they were before. I'm sure a lot of us would put up with being turned into a pig for a few hours and like locked in a pigsty for a few hours, if on the other side of it we could just be a younger, taller, hotter version of ourselves. Right? Like, it all kind of worked out for them. But when the year had passed in the waning of moons and the long days had come round, my men called me apart and said, "Sir, it is time you began to think about going home, if so be you are to be spared to see your house and native country at all." Wow. It wasn't a few hours? What do you mean? Sure it was. It was... Or was it like a couple days? I mean... I think a lot of people would still put up with it. He had to travel to get to the dude for the herb. Okay, well, I still think a lot of people would like put up with being a pig for a few days. if they got to be younger, taller, hotter at the end of it. Weeks to months? What? Really? Buddha, you heading to bed? Good night, Buddha. Thank you for hanging out. Sleep well. Sleep well. He's doing everything but returning to Penelope? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not very impressed. And you know he's banging Cersei during this year. Of course, Buddha. Good night, good night. Thus did they speak, and I assented. Thereon through the livelong day to the going down of the sun, we feasted our fill on meat and wine. But when the sun went down and it came on dark, the men laid themselves down to sleep in the covered cloisters. I, however, after I had got into bed with Cersei, besought her by her knees, and the goddess listened to what I had got to say. Cersei, said I, please to keep the promise you made me about furthering me on my homeward voyage. I want to get back, and so do my men. They are always pestering me with their complaints as soon as ever your back is turned. And the goddess answered, Odysseus, noble son of Laertes, you shall none of you stay here any longer if you do not want to. But there is another journey which you have got to take before you can sail homewards. You must go to the house of Hades and of dread Persephone to consult the ghost of the blind Theban prophet, Tiresias. Am I saying that right? Tiresias. Oh, I don't even see it in this list of pronunciations. I don't see it. Tiresias? I think I'm saying that right, aren't I? To consult the ghost of the blind Theban prophet, Tiresias, whose reason is still unshaken. To him alone has Persephone left his understanding, even in death, but the other ghosts flit about aimlessly. I was dismayed when I heard this. I sat up in bed and wept, and would gladly have lived no longer to see the light of the sun. But presently, when I was tired of weeping and tossing myself about, I said, And who shall guide me upon this voyage? For the house of Hades is a port that no ship can reach. Tiresias? Cody, am I saying that right? Putting it all on Cody here. Tiresias? You will want no guide, she answered. Raise your mast, set your white sails, sit quite still, and the north wind will blow you there of itself. When your ship has traversed the waters of Oceanus, you will reach the fertile shores of Persephone's country, with its groves of tall poplars and willows that shed their fruit untimely. Here, beach your ship upon the shores of Oceanus, and go straight on to the dark abode of Hades. You will find it near the place Pyriflegathon? 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 Hold on. Pyriflegathon. And Cocytus? Cocytus? We're learning things. What? No, that pronunciation's not in here. Causidus. 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 Okay. Alright. Pyriphlegethon and okay. You will find it near the place where the rivers Pyriphlegethon and Causidus, which is a branch of the river Styx, flow into Acheron. 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 Oh, okay, my first guess. Which is a branch of the river Styx, flow into Acheron, and you will see a rock near it, just where the two roaring rivers run into one another. When you have reached this spot, as I now tell you, dig a trench, a cubit or so in length, breadth, and depth, and pour into it as a drink offering to all the dead. First, honey mixed with wine. First, honey mixed with milk. Then wine, and in the third place, water, sprinkling white barley meal over the whole. Moreover, you must offer many prayers to the poor, feeble ghosts, and promise them that when you get back to Ithaca, you will sacrifice a barren heifer to them, the best you have, and will load the pyre with good things. More particularly, you must promise that Tiresias shall have a black sheep, all to himself, the finest in all your flocks. When you shall have thus besought the ghosts with your prayers, offer them a ram and a black ewe, bending their heads towards Erebus. But yourself turn away from them as though you would make towards the river. On this, many dead men's ghosts will come to you, and you must tell your men to skin the 2 sheep that you have just killed, and offer them as a burnt sacrifice with prayers to Hades and to Persephone. Then draw your sword and sit there, so as to prevent any other poor ghost from coming near the spilt blood before Tiresias shall have answered your questions. The seer will presently come to you and will tell you about your voyage, what stages you are to make, and how you are to sail the sea so as to reach your home. Write this down. Oh, good night, Indy. Thank you for hanging out. Hope you sleep well. It was daybreak by the time she had done speaking, so she dressed me in my shirt and cloak. As for herself, she threw a beautiful light gossamer fabric over her shoulders, fastening it with a golden girdle round her waist, and she covered her head with a mantle. Sorry, so Circe is saying you can't leave yet, you have to go down to the house of Hades first. Is her reasoning because Hades and Persephone can tell him how to get back to Ithaca? Is that the only reason? Or does she have other reasons? Couldn't he have, wrestled with the old man of the sea the way Menelaus did and gotten answers that way? Seems easier than this whole plan. And then I went about among the men, everywhere, all over the house, and spoke kindly to each of them, man by man. "You must not lie sleeping here any longer," said I to them. "We must be going, for Circe has told me all about it." And on this, They did as I bade them. Even so, however, I did not get them away without misadventure. We had with us a certain youth named Elpenor, not very remarkable for sense or courage, who had got drunk and was lying on the housetop away from the rest of the men to sleep off his liquor in the cool. When he heard the noise of the men bustling about, he jumped up on a sudden and forgot all about coming down by the main staircase. So he tumbled right off the roof and broke his neck, and his soul went down to the house of Hades. When I had got the men together, I said to them, "You think you are about to start home again, but Circe has explained to me that instead of this, we have got to go to the house of Hades and Persephone to consult the ghost of the Theban prophet Tiresias." The men were broken-hearted as they heard me, and threw themselves on the ground, groaning and tearing their hair. But they did not mend matters by crying. When we reached the seashore, weeping and lamenting our fate, Circe brought the ram and the ewe, and we made them fast hard by the ship. She passed through the midst of us without our knowing it, for who can see the comings and goings of a god if the god does not wish to be seen? End of chapter. Doesn't Tiresias give him a prophecy to get home, or is that just an epic? I don't know. It looks like he is going to like get information from Tiresias. You don't even think Ithaca sounds that cool? It sounds like a rocky island where there's not even like very good farming. There's just like a lot of goats. I don't know. It sounds kind of mid. The ruins of Homer's school are there, so a bunch of scholars and nerds lived in Ithaca? Really? Well, how come all the Ithacans, like Odysseus seems like, all the suitors, they don't seem like scholarly nerds. Oh, Tyra, hi. I'm doing okay. How are you doing? Let me take a peek at how long the next chapter is, because we have streamed for 3 hours so far. And, okay, so it's about the same length. How is Lady Cloud? I mean, she's, you can see her in the hay bin there. She's, they don't really know exactly what's wrong. So we're just observing. She's still taking meds. I'm still feeding her by hand. She is eating on her own as well, but I'm supplementing that. Oh, Floofy, I've had so many recommendations for it already. I will definitely have to seek it out. Yeah. I kind of want to finish reading this first, but glad you're doing right. But I mean, of course. Of course. I'm just a little like stressed that we don't know exactly what's going on. Yeah. Hey, Aunt Starva. Hello. Yeah, so I know. Okay, so we've been live. We've been reading for, I mean, an hour and a half. Some of that was just like chatting or troubleshooting, but just because my back is hurting so bad tonight, I'm like wondering if we should cap it at 1 chapter tonight. I know that's kind of disappointing. Normally, with a chapter that length, I'd want to read another one. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I'll need to take a break either way. I need to start doing Pilates again as well, Lookatone. Pilates has worked for me in the past. You think this was solid? Okay. It's just, you know, it's such a long book, and feel like we're only 10 chapters in. But okay. Well, here's what we will do then. We will wrap up the YouTube stream. I'm gonna take like a 5-minute break. And then I'm gonna try to do at least half an hour of ASMR triggers. Okay, Fitch. Yeah, that's fine. Does that sound okay, you guys? Thank you to everyone who watched on YouTube. Genuinely, so sincerely, thank you so much. This has been awesome having more of you over there. That really, really, really helps in terms of the watch hours that I need to earn to be eligible to join the YouTube Partner Program. The other numbers goal involved in that is subscribers. So if you have not subscribed yet to either of the YouTube channels, honestly, the first one there being the one that we're currently live on and the other one being the ASMR one, if you're willing to drop a sub, that really, really, really helps. Also, you know, if you can like the stream, or like comment on the VOD, those are things that apparently all help. So, you know, thank you. Thank you very much. YouTube, I will be back live on this channel unless anything, you know, happens to disrupt the schedule. I'll be back on Sunday night and we will be reading more of the Odyssey. If you would like to hang out for a little bit longer tonight, or, you know, in the future, if you'd like to catch the opening hour of streams where we're chatting and doing ASMR triggers, that all happens over on Twitch. We do the full stream over on Twitch. Hi CS, not end of stream, just end of the YouTube stream. We're going to keep going on Twitch for a little bit longer. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Cody. All right. Okay. Thank you, YouTube. Bye, YouTube.